Whether you're just getting started in permanent jewelry or you've been doing it a while, this video is going to walk you through the exact numbers so you can understand what to charge, how much profit you're actually making, and how to scale your business faster without guessing. My name's Jake Randolph. I'm the owner of Linked Permanent Jewelry Training. I've worked with thousands of permanent jewelry artists. We have our students who start with us, have no experience, and then we teach them how to price their services, how to profit, and how to grow to a six-figure permanent jewelry business. And so I'm gonna share that with you today. Let's start with something simple but powerful. Why is permanent jewelry such an attractive business model right now? The profit margins are insanely high and the services are fast, low overhead, and easy to perform. And that's a rare combo. So let's break down some numbers and talk real numbers. Let's say you buy a foot of sterling silver chain for about $10. Use about 6 inches, and so that's about $5 in material cost. Now, let's say you sell that bracelet for anywhere from $60 to $100. That means you're making 12 to 20 times what you paid for that material. And that's not revenue, that's actual markup. Permanent jewelry on average takes about 15 minutes from start to finish, sometimes less. So imagine this, you're doing 4 of these per hour. That means you're earning $240 to $400 per hour depending on your pricing, your upselling, and we're gonna talk about that in this video. You don't need a storefront, you don't need to hire a team, and you don't need to be licensed in most states. You can perform this service at events, markets, inside salons, or even at people's houses. Literally anywhere. You can do this business anywhere. Most customers see permanent jewelry as a luxury item. So they're not price shopping and trying to find the cheapest thing like they would for maybe brows or nails or hair. They come in expecting to spend money. It's jewelry without needing years of experience or even a huge following. So whether you're looking to build this full time or you just want a high profit weekend side hustle, permanent jewelry gives you that flexibility and that income potential that most beauty professionals would only dream of and they can't match. Let's dive into the actual numbers and break down the costs, the materials, and the pricing strategies that's going to make this all possible. Now let's get into one of the most important parts of running a profitable permanent jewelry business, and that's understanding your materials. This is where all the pricing decisions start. So there are 3 core materials you're going to see the most common in the permanent jewelry industry. The first is sterling silver. That's often where new artists begin, and it's still a strong seller for most people. It's got great margins, and they're very affordable to purchase. They're easy to weld, they're very beginner friendly, and you can usually get a foot or so for about $8 to $12, depending on the style and the supplier. Even if you stay at the lower end, say $65 a bracelet, and you only paid $5 in material, that's still 13x your cost. And that doesn't even include upsells, downsells. But the thing about sterling silver, it's great for people who want, an elegant look, but a lower cost option. It's a perfect intro into the door. I call it the gateway drug of permanent jewelry. Now let's talk about the second material, and that's gold filled. This is the sweet spot. This is what I see as the most popular. It's, definitely the most profitable material we found. Why? Because it has the look and the feel of solid gold, because it does have some gold in it, and it's tarnish resistant, it's hypoallergenic, and it's long lasting. You can usually find, gold filled chain for about $15 to $25 a foot. And depending on the thickness, the carat color, like if it's rose gold versus yellow, and the style. So let's use a bracelet example. Half a foot is about $7 to $12 in material. Most clients will happily pay, $80 to $120 for that, gold filled piece. And that gives you a profit margin of about $70 to $100 per item. And that's before someone says, I want to stack it with the second chain, or you upsell them, which I'm going to show you later in this video as well. So let's add a matching anklet, you might say. This perceived value is high. For example, look at this on my arm. We've got 4 bracelets. I used to have 5, but I cut off the 5th one. It is not rare to have a stack. And what I say by stack is that's when people, have multiple bracelets, or maybe they have 1 or 2 necklaces or more. We just call that stacking the jewelry. And it's a great way to make extra money, because once you got someone in front of you and you're already doing a bracelet on them, it's pretty easy to say like, oh, this style would look great with this style. Do you want a second one? I can give you the second one for $20 off. So the thing is, most people have no idea that 14 karat gold filled is not solid gold unless you were to tell them. It's also way easier to stock a variety of styles because it's less overhead. And so you've got different styles like curb, cable, satellite, paperclip, and you're not having to spend thousands of dollars up front. So if you're looking for the best balance of that luxury feel and the high margin, gold filled is definitely the winner for that. And last but not least, we've got the solid 14 karat gold. Now let's talk about this premium tier. It's definitely a luxury offering. It's not something every artist even carries, honestly. But if you're in a high-end market, or you're known for doing elevated work, solid gold can be a very powerful upsell. And here's the challenge. Most wholesale suppliers require a 50-foot minimum to purchase solid gold chain. That means if you were, to want 50 feet of just one style, you're looking at anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 up front, depending on the thickness and the carat price at the time. And that's a huge financial commitment, especially for a new permanent jewelry artist trying to offer variety. So you'd also need to do that for each style you want to offer. You're talking, those big investments for each style. Now imagine that for 5 different styles, you're looking at tens of thousands of dollars of inventory. And so for most artists, that's just not realistic. And that's where our program gives students a major advantage. When you train with us at Linked, we give you exclusive access to premium chain by the foot, even for solid gold. So instead of needing to buy, 50 foot of chain at a time, you can test high-end options, in small quantities, see what sells best for you, just buy a foot or two at a time, and then get the feedback directly from the customer. See what your market wants, and start offering those luxury materials without maxing out your credit card. This makes it so much easier to compete, with high-end brands. You can offer some variety without all the risk, and you can grow your profit margin with every sell. The other advantage of 14 karat gold, and this is what I always teach, I'm actually going to give this tip away for free, even though it's something I would teach, normally in one of our paid courses. But, take notes on this, because this is going to be a very important tip. Always have a 14 karat gold chain that you mark up and have at a high price. And so even if it costs you, let's say, $200 for that chain and you have to price it at $300, that's okay. What this is going to do is it's going to make your other chains look cheaper. And so I call this price anchoring. And so people are going to see like, oh, they have this $300 chain, but the rest of their chains are only $150, or the rest of their chains are only around $100. That means the rest of their chains are much more affordable. And so they're going to look at that, high price tag of $200 to $300 that you have with that solid gold, and it's going to make them purchase more of the gold filled. Always have a highest priced option for pricing, a lower priced, and then somewhere in the middle. And most people will fall somewhere in the middle. But think about it. If you don't have that higher priced option to raise the average value of your chains, you're going to miss out on tons of profits, because people are just going to look at what options you do have and they're going to compare that to something. People always compare things to everything. So that's a quick tip. Hope that helped. Okay, now that you understand the materials and their profit potential, let's talk about one of the most important decisions you'll make in the business. How should you price your services? Here are the 2 main pricing models I see our students use. Either charging per piece, so like per bracelet, per necklace, or charging per inch. Now, option 1 is the flat rate per piece. This is where, you charge one set price. So let's say it's $80 for a bracelet, and no matter how much material you use, it's simple for customers to understand, it's fast, and it just works okay if everyone's getting the same size and the same chain. But here's where it gets, tricky. Let's say client A has a 6-inch wrist and then client B has a 9-inch wrist. You're spending 50% more on material for that second client, but you're charging them the exact same price. Over time, this can start to eat into your profits. And if you're not adjusting prices with, fluctuating material costs, you may not realize you're undercharging until it's too late. And that's where the second model gives you more control. And that's pricing by the inch. Charging by the inch means that you have a set rate for each chain style, like a set per inch cost. And your client pays based on exactly how much is used. It's fair to you, it's fair for them, and it's much more scalable. So let's break that down. Say you have a gold-filled chain that costs you $12 a foot, which is about $1 per inch in material, and you decide to charge 8 inches for that style. It's clear, it's profitable, and it scales with the size of the service. Now, real talk, what we recommend for most artists, especially those doing pop-ups, online ordering, or events, we recommend pricing by the inch for everything, because it simplifies your online menu, it makes custom orders easier, and it keeps your profit margins consistent. Plus, it's a great way to build trust with clients. They can see exactly what they're paying for inch by inch. You're not hiding your pricing behind arbitrary. You're showing them how to calculate it. We also suggest you create a sample tag system. Take a 2-inch sample of each chain, attach a price tag to it, and display it on your tray or menu. That way, clients know up front that this one is $9 an inch or this one is $12 an inch. It sets clear expectations, and more importantly, it makes it easier for them to spend more. They start doing the math in their heads. Okay, I want a bracelet and a matching anklet. That's about 15 inches total. Now they're walking out with a $120 sell instead of just one $60 bracelet. Now here's the thing, when would per piece pricing still work? Now to be fair, some artists do well with flat rate pricing. I'm not gonna lie, like there's pros and cons to both. Even if you're just focused on, one or two products, it can really help you. So let's say you're doing a one bracelet style for $95. Flat rate's good for this because there's limited variety. You do have different wrist sizes, but being able to keep it simple and show them like, hey, each bracelet is worth $85, it undercomplicates things, which helps because anytime you overcomplicate the sales process, it can kind of hurt conversions. So I would say test it out. If you want to try to charge per inch, then do that like we recommended. Or if you want to try the flat rate, test both. Like at one event, do flat rate, at one event, do per inch. See which one works better for you. And let me know in the comments, like what do you prefer if you already do permanent jewelry? I'm just curious because I know I've seen, a variety of both.